smart. Does that make her smart? What does that make her? She really loved Mr. Slinger. Ah, she really loved school, right? Because that was said right in the book. So teachers, one thing that we want to make sure that when kids are talking about characters and talking about books is that it's grounded in the text. So if they're going to say something about a character, that's like Common Core standard number 1, is that everything that they're saying is then grounded in text evidence. Like what part of the book, right? Another thing to be thinking about is the more talking we do in partnerships, the more they're going to be, it's just going to be a routine for them. So when you say turn and talk, it's going to get a little loud, right? So that's a practice that you need, like, has to happen often. Like every day they should be in like partnership work. And the more that they're in the partnerships, the more apt they are to talk to their partner. Another thing to be thinking about is that when they're even when you're thinking about any opinion or any idea that they have about text, is that part of the text support that idea that you're having? And if it doesn't, you need to either change your idea that you're having about the text, or you need to change the support for your idea. That's one way kids can also realize, wait a second, what I just said might not actually be true about the character, right? It might be something else. So, okay, friends, are we ready to move on? Oh gosh, this is my favorite part coming up. I hope you got to this part. I don't know if you got to this part.
Yeah, we have.
Oh gosh, okay. So whenever the students had free time, they were permitted to go to the light bulb lab in the back of the classroom. They expressed their ideas creatively through drawing and writing. Lily went often. She had a lot of ideas. She drew pictures of Mr. Slinger. She wrote stories about him too. So I'm thinking, like, she's going to write stories about Mr. Slinger. She loves him so much, right? During sharing time, Lily showed her creations to the entire class. Wow, said Mr. Slinger. That was just about all he could say. Wow. If you look at her picture. Big, friendly, nice, Mr. Nice Man teacher. Right. She wrote stories. She wrote stories where he was like the hero the whole time, right? Yeah, there are speech bubbles. So maybe I'll leave this book, and then you guys can actually like reread it, and you can actually read the speech bubbles and see what they say too. When Mr. Slinger had bus duty, Lily stood in line, even though she didn't ride the bus. Lily raised her hand more than anyone in class, even if she didn't know the answer. And she volunteered to stay after school and clap erasers. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. Excellent choice, said Mr. Slinger. One Monday morning, Lily came to school especially happy. She had gone shopping with her Grammy over the weekend. Lily had a new pair of movie star sunglasses, complete with glittery diamonds and a chain, just like Mr. Slinger's. She had 3 shiny quarters. Best of all, she had a brand new purple plastic purse. That goes with the title, right? It's got to be important then, right? This purple plastic purse has to be important. Let's see why. And a brand new purple plastic purse that played a jaunty tune when it was opened. Lily wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Listen to our story. Lily had a hard time listening. Lily really wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Let's be considerate of our classmates. Lily had a hard time being considerate. Lily really wanted to show everyone. Not now, said Mr. Slinger. Wait until recess or sharing time. But Lily could not wait. Her glasses were so glittery, her quarters were so shiny, and the purse played such nice music. Not to mention how excellent it was for storing school supplies. Now think about, with Lily, what you know about Lily so far. Think about what's going to happen. Think about what the author's kind of leaving us hanging right now. Are you ready? Turn and tell your partner what you think is going to happen next. Go.
she's gonna get in trouble because she's gonna get in trouble because she showed her that she hasn't So you said ugly. I didn't say
So when you say she, who are you saying?
in
So be sure every time you talk about characters in books, instead of saying he, she, or they, because there's a lot of he, she's, or theys, try to use your characters' names, okay? Oh my gosh. Let's see if what you think is going to happen. Look! Lily whispered fiercely. Look, everyone! Look what I've got! Everyone looked, including Mr. Slinger. He was not amused. So I'm thinking right now, because I'm a teacher, I'm thinking if that happened in my class, I would be really annoyed because I gave 3 warnings and the students still didn't do what I asked, right? Let's see what Mr. Slinger does. But I know that Mr. Slinger is kind of a cool teacher, right? He might not get really mad. Let's see what he does. I'll just keep your things at my desk until the end of the day, said Mr. Slinger. They'll be safe there, and then you can take them home. Lily's stomach lurched. It's like, ugh. She felt like crying. Her glasses were gone. Her quarters were gone. Her purple plastic purse was gone. Lily longed for her purse all morning. She was even too sad to eat snack. Mr. Slinger served before recess. That afternoon, Lily went to the light bulb lab. She was still very sad. So I want you to kind of make a picture in your head. Are you ready? I'm going to read this part, and I want you to kind of think of it like a movie. Are you ready? Okay. That afternoon, Lily went to the light bulb lab. She was still very sad. She thought, and then she became angry. She thought some more, and then she became furious. She thought a bit longer, and then she drew a picture of Mr. Slinger. Uh-oh is right. Claus, thief, bad, wanted by the FBI. P.S. I do not want to be a teacher when I grow. Right before the last bell, Lily sneaked the drawing into Mr. Slinger's book bag. How do you think Mr. Slinger is going to feel when he takes that drawing out of his book bag? How do you think he's going to feel?
really bad. Or sad.
When all the students were buttoned and zipped and snapped and tied and ready to go home, I love that part. It just reminds me of like kindergarten classroom, buttoned and snapped and zipped. When all the students were buttoned and zipped and snapped and tied and ready to go home, Mr. Slinger strolled over to Lily and gave her back her purple plastic purse. Listen to what he says. It's a beautiful purse, Mr. Slinger, said Mr. Slinger. Your quarters are nice and jingly, and those glasses are absolutely fabulous. You must bring them back. Oh, sorry, not you must. You may bring them back to school as long as you don't disturb the rest of the class. At that part, I thought, wow. Mr. Slinger couldn't he have said, don't ever bring your stuff home back, right? You're not allowed to bring it back, right? If he was the kind of teacher that said you could bring them back as long as you don't disturb the rest of the class. You're thinking, like, what kind of a teacher is Mr. Slinger? Thinking like he really kind of thinks about like the kids' feelings, right? He's like that kind of teacher. He's kind. I do not want to be a teacher when I grow up, Lily said, as she marched out of the classroom. On the way home, Lily opened her purse. Her glasses and quarters were inside, and so was a note from Mr. Slinger. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the character. You're Lily. You got in trouble for showing everybody all of your stuff in school. You wrote a really mean note to Mr. Slinger and put it in his book bag and you say, I do not want to be a teacher when I grow up, right? And then you get a note like this from Mr. Slinger, and I want you to think